Hi, I'm Eric Mansfield. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and welcome to Practical Mental Health. So today I'm going to focus on internal mindfulness, which is basically turning your self-awareness inward. So basically this is going to be kind of self-assessment stuff. I talked about before in another video about external mindfulness, that situational awareness, as far as we experience the world through our senses and raising awareness to how you're experiencing the world through your senses. This is a bit different. So turning it inward, you're going to be focusing on thought patterns, your emotions, checking in with your body, the mind-body connection, that kind of a thing. So what I want you to do, and what I would encourage you to do, is to try to tune into what you're thinking. We're going to start with thoughts. So the idea is, what are your thought patterns? How do you think, and how do your thought patterns change when you are feeling certain emotions? For instance, negative thought patterns, depression, sadness, anxiety, nervousness, anger, irritability, varying levels of any of those. What are your thought patterns when you actually feel those emotions? But also, not just focusing on the negative, focusing on the positive. When you are happy or joyful, content or calm, what are your thought patterns when you experience those actual feelings? Happiness and joy, being content, being calm, those are feelings, not unlike the negative. So I know that when it comes to therapy and it comes to mental health and all this stuff, a lot of people tend to focus more on the negative than the positive. But I want you to be aware of both, because there is a balance there. And the idea of negative emotions, you feel what you feel, and that's okay. But the question is, do you have to feel it all the time? Not necessarily. And the idea of becoming more tuned into your own sense of self-awareness and your own internal states can definitely help you with being able to change those feelings, those thoughts. So when it does come to negative thought patterns or even positive thought patterns, what are your triggers? What is it that sets off negative thought patterns? For me, the news. It's all bad news, most of it. I don't see too much good news being reported these days. I kind of wonder if does anybody care about any good news. I don't feel like news organizations do, because, well, it's all bad news. At least that's what my perception is of that. So what are your triggers for depression? What are your triggers for anxiety? What are your triggers for anger? And whatever other emotions you might be feeling. I'm just listing off at least 3 that I see that are most common and that people report as being problematic in therapy. What are the triggers? Once you identify what it is that triggers it, you can kind of avoid it, but you can also prepare yourself. Some things you can't avoid. What about positive thoughts? What are the triggers for happiness and joy? Watching comedy, looking for reasons to laugh, play, have a good time, have fun, reflecting on the past. Some people will go through photo albums and remember the good times and stuff like that. What are the triggers for feeling calm? This could be even environmental factors. Your home should be a safe space and should help induce a state of calm, and hopefully happiness and joy. And if you have pets, I would suggest that most, if not all, pets are emotional support animals, not just living creatures that you just have to take care of and feed and walk and all that stuff. Usually a person's pet, generally speaking, not everybody, but most people view a pet as part of the family. So even your pet, that could induce a sense of happiness and joy. induce a sense of calm just by petting your pet. Okay, so tuning into your thought patterns. What are your thinking patterns when you feel certain things, certain emotions, body sensations? What I want you to do next is tune into how emotions feel. Like, where do you feel your emotions in your body? To give you an example, depression, I feel it just as an overall sinking feeling. It's hard to describe. Anxious, I feel it in my heart. I can feel my heart pounding, my chest. I mean, I can feel my breath is getting shallower. I tense up. Anger, it's very similar to anxiety. The heart rate increases, but also start feeling hot and flush. But that also starts in my brain, and I describe it as like a valve opened up and my body's being flooded with Orbeez. It's a strange sensation coming from within, but that's how I feel, and that's how I know when I'm feeling angry. So that alerts me to what I'm feeling. And the whole point of internal mindfulness is so that you can raise that self-awareness so that you are alert when your emotional states and your mental states change and shift. Not just to the negative, but also to the positive. And if you notice that it shifts to the negative, that's when you can make the effort to shift it back to the positive. If you are practicing internal mindfulness as much as possible, then the idea is that you're trying to maintain a state of positive thinking, positive emotions, which can actually help prevent it shifting from the positive to the negative. But if it does, I mean, you can always come back. It might be a roller coaster ride. The idea that I want you to think about too is not just where do you feel it in the body, but what does it feel like when it starts? Because I have met a lot of people, myself included. If you are not aware of when it starts, then you're pretty much along for the ride. If you don't stop it, if you don't make the effort to stop it, the sooner that you can tune into that state change, the quicker you can stop it, or you can change it. Or sometimes I suggest that your emotions and thought patterns are kind of like a dimmer switch, not an on and off switch. That if something triggers you, who knows? Let's say, for instance, on a scale of 1 to 100, for some things you might be triggered and that switch goes straight to 100, like an on switch. But the idea is that you can grab that dimmer switch and turn it down. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to turn it off 100% or that you want to turn it off 100%. But the idea is that you are able to manage it to a level that you're comfortable with. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to be irritated. But at what level? And does the emotion fit the situation? And does the level of the emotion fit the situation? That is actually something to think about as well. So something that you can do in order to really tune in to how does the body feel and what does it feel like when it starts. Right now, you can assess how are you feeling right now, but you may not be depressed or anxious or angry or happy or content or calm. But what you can do is what's called the float back technique. So basically the idea is that you just sit quietly and calmly and you kind of in your mind float back to maybe the last time or even the first time that you remember feeling depressed. What do you remember about that? What did it feel like? How long did it last? What were the symptoms? What were the duration? And what did you do in order to get out of that state or to change it and to be able to manage it? What about happiness? When was the last time you felt truly happy? When was the first time you truly felt happy? Kind of float back to that time and assess, how did I feel? What was it that brought it about? What do I remember about that moment? If you can remember that, then for the negative emotions, if you float back, then you can kind of identify maybe what was it that triggered it, what are the feelings, so that you can kind of get tuned into it, so that the next time it rises, you'll be quicker and you'll be quicker with being able to identify, oh my gosh, like, wait a minute, I'm feeling depression right now. Why am I feeling depressed? Why am I feeling sad? That way you can practice coping skills and strategies in order to induce your own state change out of depression and into either contentment or happiness. So that's the float back technique. That's the idea. Go back to a time when you did feel it in your mind. Try to identify, where did it begin? What triggered it? What were your thoughts? What were your feelings? How did it feel in your body? Just try to tune into that for future reference. So increasing your self-awareness to internal states, which are your thoughts, your emotions, body sensations, this can help you catch negative state change sooner. The benefit to that is that it can help increase the likelihood to practice coping strategies and shift that state change to a more manageable level, or even out of the negative and into the positive. So some methods that you can do to increase self-awareness and to induce state change to some degree. I really want you right now, with regards to internal mindfulness, is to just be able to increase that sense of self-awareness. So these are practices. It's not the end-all, be-all, all-encompassing list, but these are definitely some ideas that can get you started with raising self-awareness. So the first one is meditation. Now, there are a lot of different ways to meditate. So what I want you to do for this purpose is not just to sit quietly and try to blank out your mind or to not think of anything. I think that's really a hard task for anybody. But the idea here is that I want you to watch your thoughts as though you're watching TV. They're just there. You can change the channel. You can change your thought patterns if you want. However, what I want you to do for internal mindfulness meditation is to just watch your thoughts. See where they go. Just sit quietly. You don't have to ohm or anything. You don't have to sit cross-legged or anything to that effect. You're just going inward into your own mind and just let it go. Don't judge your thoughts, whether you think that it's good or bad. It just is. That's all it is. It's just a thought. Just watch them come, watch them go, in and out. One other thing that you can do is you can focus on your breath and your heart. So the idea behind this is you can put your hand over your chest or on your chest if you want. But the idea is that you want to focus on your breathing first. So being aware of when you're taking a breath in, how deep is that breath? Is it shallow? Don't necessarily have to induce how. I mean, as far as like, you don't have to do deep breathing and focus on your breath. Just notice your breath. At resting, are you just breathing very shallow? Do you feel like you're breathing deep enough? Are you yawning? If you're yawning, you're probably not getting enough oxygen. So that could be an indication that your breathing is very shallow. Pay attention to your heart rate. Some people will put their hand over their jugular to kind of get an idea, or on your wrist to be able to kind of get that feeling of the heart rate. Or you can use biofeedback. There are devices that you can hold. I think there's probably some apps on your phone that will give you biofeedback, which means you get an audible beep every time your heart beats. If you can do that, then you kind of tune in to your heartbeat. What is the rhythm of your heart? Is it too fast? Is it really running fast? Or do you feel like it's at the right heart rate? If you are at an elevated heart rate, then maybe the likelihood is I would suggest go to the doctor and get it checked out to begin with. But usually elevated heart rate means you're under stress or anxiety or something that might be going on. You can control it to some degree. If it's a medical issue, you're probably going to need to see a doctor about that to help reduce your heart rate or your blood pressure. And when it comes to your heart rate, having biofeedback can definitely be helpful, where if you tune in to your heart rate and you can practice coping skills, deep breathing exercises, relaxation techniques, and you can actually hear your heart rate slowing down, that's an indicator that you are being internally mindful and that you have control to some degree over your internal states. Okay, so next is a body scan. So basically a body scan is starting from your feet, working your way up, or from your head to your toe. You basically, I'm going to start with the feet. So basically you check in with your feet. You know, I mean, as silly as it sounds, you might, hey feet, how are you feeling? You know, the toes working, any pain? No? Okay, great. Calves, shins, how are you feeling? Work up to your thighs, hamstrings, your butt muscles, abdomen, lower back. Are you noticing anything weird? Does it feel like everything is good? Everything's in shape? Not like, you know, shape as far as like, you know, are you fit kind of thing, but is it in shape with regards to, are you feeling pain? Are you feeling weakness? Are you feeling fatigue? Or do you feel strong? Do you feel energized? So abdomen, lower back, then chest, then your upper back. Check in with your arms, your shoulders, biceps, triceps, forearms, you know, check your hands. Work up to your upper neck. A lot of people carry a lot of stress in their neck, a lot of tension in their upper neck. Face, all the way up to the top of your head. So one thing to take into consideration too with the body scan is that when you are doing this and you are checking in with your body to see if there's any place that is tense or if there's any pain or anything, ask that question, why, okay, body, why are you feeling tense right there? Why are you feeling pain? Oftentimes, I don't want to get too far into this, but one of the things that I discovered was lower back pain can be attributed to tight hamstrings. It can be attributed to tight upper back, or both, you know, tight hamstrings and tight upper neck muscles. It's all connected. And if you are straining and pulling and don't even realize that your muscles are tensed up and pulling your spine out of alignment, or who knows what. I mean, I'm not a chiropractor, so I'm not sure exactly what the dynamics are for that. But what I do know is that if you are feeling pain in certain areas, if you start learning how to stretch your body and loosen up your muscles, reduce stress, reduce anxiety, promote a sense of calmness, some of that pain might actually go away, unless there's physical damage. I mean, which actually, I mean, you may not get rid of the pain 100%, but it can help reduce pain by reducing stress and tension and, you know, stretching your muscles. By doing that, my understanding is a lot of stress and anxiety has an impact on the body that increases inflammation. And if inflammation is increased, that can increase pain. So the idea is that you want to be self-aware of all these things so that you can actually do something about it for yourself to help reduce pain, stress, anxiety, tension, all that naturally. You are in control to some degree. Okay, so getting back to methods for increasing self-awareness. Okay, so that was the body scan. Journaling. Journaling can definitely be helpful with regards to just writing a stream of thoughts. You don't have to write about anything. You don't have to write a novel. All you have to do is open up a book. And even if it is starting off, you just start writing, I don't know what to talk about. My mind is this or that. I'm feeling this or that. And you just keep going. Whatever thoughts come to your mind, you just write it down. Even if you want to write down, this is absolute nonsense. I don't like journaling. Just keep going. Just keep writing whatever comes to mind. You may actually open up the floodgates, and next thing you know, you've written 2 or 3 pages, and now you're becoming more aware of where your thought patterns are. Okay, so another method, identifying your strengths and limitations. So you need to identify what is it that you're good at. Everybody's good at something. I mean, if you can identify the things that you actually feel like you're good at, you can build on those strengths. But also very important is being able to identify limitations. And I don't use the word weaknesses anymore because that sounds like an end-all be-all. Limitations there are things that might block you from being able to accomplish certain things. But a limitation may be just a lack of education, a lack of knowledge. There might be some limitations with regards to body function. But the idea is that if you can identify what the limitation is, you can use your strengths to figure out how to work around that so that you can still be successful at whatever you want to accomplish. Whether it's a career path, hobbies, just everyday life. Build on your strengths and strengthen limitations as needed. But you have to be able to identify what are you good at and what are you not so good at. And the thing is too, if you think that you are limited on something, like maybe you lack skills, maybe you lack the education, but it's something that might interest you, but you're holding yourself back because you're not sure about that. I mean, that's something else to be aware of. That part of that self-awareness, like ask yourself, why am I holding myself back from learning about this to see if I would even be good at it or if I would even enjoy it? You have to take that first step. Hence the old saying, I think it's a Buddhist saying, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. You have to take that first step, and then you have to take the second, and then you have to take the third, and go on, and so on and so forth. Let's see. So another idea with regards to increasing your self-awareness. I also want you to be able to identify your personal morals and values. So morals, basically right from wrong. What do you identify as right from wrong? And being aware of this, because internally, our minds, our brains will just do a lot of automatic thinking patterns. And sometimes we have control over it, sometimes we don't. And that's okay. As long as you just view whatever's going on in your mind as though you're watching a TV channel and you understand that our brains lie to us all the time. The idea is that, let's say, for instance, you get angry and then your brain switches to the 101 different ways to hurt a person. Are any of those ideas morally acceptable? For me, no, they're not. I mean, unless I'm defending myself and I have to fight for my life or to stop somebody from attacking me, I'm going to do what I need to do. But if you're just angry at somebody, do you walk up to them and smack them in the face or punch them out? No, that's immoral. That's not right. That's what I mean by checking your morals and values. And here's the thing, if you internally do believe that that is morally acceptable, the rest of society is probably going to say, no, it isn't, and you're going to find yourself in jail. So that's definitely something to think about and to keep in mind while you're assessing your own internal self-awareness. Your values. So what do you value? Do you value things? Do you value yourself? Do you value your friends, your family, your job? Do you value other people and their lives? Do you value, what is it you value? A lot of people will go towards money, which, I mean, you know, a lot of people put their sense of self-worth and value on how much money you have in the bank. And if that's what you believe, that's what you believe. So those are some ideas to kind of get you started with regards to identifying your own sense of self-awareness inwardly, internal mindfulness. So I'm going to wrap that up here. I hope I helped, you know, as far as exercising your mind. I hope I helped with feeding your mind some good information to get you started so that you can exercise your mind. I would encourage you do a web search or whatever for further information about this. Again, I'm not the end all be all. I'm just doing these videos to try to help you get on the right track, to help you become more self-aware. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you have a wonderful day. I wish for you a wonderful life. I love you all. It's a brotherly love. Take care. Thank you.